Hello everyone, I'm Amy DeBeck. My husband Kevin DeBeck is on camera and he'll be doing all of the post-production work too to get this video out to you all. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and Kevin's are he, his, and him. I'm privileged to serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart, and I'm really happy to be sending these messages out to you and to any friends who are not from UUFE. Hi there. Last Sunday, Kevin and I put up the first online worship service, and we made it very easy to get to. You could click on an email, or you could watch it on Facebook, or if you can get to it, which I still can't do every time, we have a UUFE YouTube channel, UU Elkhart. The point is, we had a decision to make about how to spend our time. We could teach ourselves and everybody else how to use Zoom or a similar platform so that our worship service could be interactive, or we could spend that same time creating a pre-recorded video that more of us could easily access. We chose accessibility. Given the positive comments that I've gotten, that seems to be the right way to go. The systems of connectedness will keep evolving, I'm sure, and we will all stay together in beloved community. My wish for the phone tree is, first of all, if you're watching this and you're not on the phone tree, please call me or send me a message and I'll get you on it. And that is for UUFE. But if you want to make a phone tree, call me and I'll tell you how to do it. Kevin and I make our phone calls on Wednesday or Thursday, and we hear about everybody's stories. We also check in to hear who we have not been able to get hold of. I believe that if we are used to checking in with each other, it will be a huge benefit to all of us, with a special lifeline for those who don't have a computer or don't have internet access or don't know how to use them. And there's more of us than you might realize. When word needs to spread fully and rapidly, the phone tree makes it very inclusive. It's a good habit. Kevin calls these meetings fireside chats. It's reminiscent of when FDR would go on the wireless radio during the Depression that led into World War II. Now, of course, his dog Fala would sit with him. My cat Pearl will not. But each time I know we're going to be making one of these, I think about what I want to talk about. And tonight it's mental and spiritual health. Years ago, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross taught us that there are 5 stages of grief. Now, some of us thought, or maybe still think of it, as some kind of ladder where you climb up through those really hard 4 and you get up to the top, which is acceptance, and you've climbed out of this pit of despair that we call grief. But even when you hit that final stage called acceptance, it doesn't mean that everything is magically fine. It just means that we've accepted our new normal, that we've incorporated the loss into our lives. There's often still pain and loneliness, but we've figured out how to keep moving forward in our new normal. That model of climbing a grief ladder out of a pit, it's not how it works. The 4 hard steps are in no particular order: anger, depression, bargaining, and denial. As you move through them, it's way more like a spiral, like you're standing there with all of these feelings swirling around. It's more like a spiral than a ladder, and it means that you might have landed for a moment on one of the feelings, like depression, but all of a sudden that spiral moves around and another one gets you. This is how I felt this week. I have felt depressed and very angry. My colleagues are sharing stories of losing colleagues, of being told that someone's in the hospital and not being able to visit, being told that someone's in the hospital and their spouse can't even go with them. This hasn't happened yet at UUFE. I don't know if it will. I'm holding all of you so very carefully with such love, as so many of us teeter on that edge between someone who is considered at high risk and someone who is still going into work. In my own family, 2 of my siblings are dealing with their loved ones, navigating the hurdles of getting tested. In Virginia and Connecticut, we await the outcome of COVID-19 tests. And my family, like so many of yours, we remain aware of how lucky and privileged we are to even have homes, let alone nice ones, and caregivers, people who love us, when the virus does come home with us. So it may seem odd that I'm calling this feeling grief. We could call it crisis. We could call it failure on the part of national government to protect us. You can call it what you want to, but the best way to understand what we're going through is to look at it as grief. The losses we have incurred are already steep, and they're bound to keep growing. What losses, you wonder? Well, just like that, we lost our sense of security, our freedom to go where we wanted to go, our ability to worship, to gather in groups. We lost the freedom to see, touch, or hug friends and family who don't live with us. These are losses. We're in grief. Uncertainty over how long this will last just makes it worse. And then we hear the president give willful misinformation, and we see our local governments scrambling to try and not say he's being willfully ignorant and murderous, but also tell people stay home, follow the CDC, and not him. Even as he says, we can be together for Easter. It's irresponsible, at least, and it makes me angry. Even as I sit in sadness for not being able to comfort you all in the pastoral care ways that are usual, the anger comes at me in waves until we have wide testing so that we can separate out the active cases and let them be sequestered and get through their flu-like but worse symptoms, and have the non-exposed people use precautions correctly when they're deemed safe to circulate. Until those things happen, the testing, the separation, the precautions, this spread is going to continue. And I'm trying to follow the rule that comes up on my computer every time I turn it on. It says that the CDC suggests for our mental health, don't check the news more than twice a day. I'm trying to do that, but a lot of stuff I've read says that if we don't follow all of these rules carefully and get that curve under control, this could start to ease up and come back and get us again. Right when we're used to being out of our house, we could get told, go back in. That's why I'm angry, because we have bad leadership and bad communication. I have grief in advance for all of us who will have to suffer from the poor planning of our leaders. And this is grief. I'm grieving for a loss of freedom brought on by me and everyone else, by the virus itself, but also by all of the missteps and greed that our national government is putting us through. From experience, I know that grief is different for every loss. It's not like you figure out how to go through grief so that every time you have a loss, you know what to do. It's different every time, and it's different for every person. So here we are grieving some different aspect of the virus outbreak. Either your kid is missing graduation, or you're not able to be with an elder parent, or you have to be at home with someone you really wish you didn't want to anyway. And so we're all grieving something different, and we're all grieving differently. And we're all doing this at the same time. Everybody. It just feels like waiting for the proverbial other shoe to drop all the time, every day. This stress is not sustainable. So I gave a lot of thought to how I feel about what can I say to you all? What could I suggest where I'm walking the walk and I'm suggesting you do it as well? Now, as you know, I'm sitting at home. Kevin's behind the camera. Kids are somewhere in the house, and I didn't rehearse this with them. But here's the thing. The one thing that we all have the ability to do, whether we're by ourselves or in an populated house, we can be kind. It's the last resort when you've lost everything. And I don't mean to sound melodramatic. We haven't lost everything. But kindness is always with you. Depression is rage turned inward. Kindness, compassion are the antidotes. When we treat ourselves kindly, however that looks, forgiving our foibles, doing something that seems indulgent, however kindness looks, turn that inward. And then we can look for the ways to spread that love instead of COVID-19. Kindness and compassion will fuel the positive feelings that we need to keep moving forward together. I love that phrase, forward together. Kindness will move us forward, even in this quarantine. As I receive legitimate requests, I will pass them on. I get info from hospitals, from folks like Jess or Matt at Beacon Health, that they can use things. Now, after this gets posted onto Facebook, there's a comment line under the videos, and I'll make sure that I put into the comment line the post that's got the list of all the ways that here in Michiana, the combination of Michigan and Indiana, here in Michiana, how we can help our healthcare workers and each other. I'll put that link so that we can make some masks. Spoiler alert, Kevin and I did go and check out whether Joann's is telling the truth. They are. They deliver to your car a bag of masks, and each bag has 12 masks and elastics. And if any of you all are dying to make some masks, let me know, and I will put them in smaller bags and drop them on your doorstep, and we will not see each other. I also heard from Jackie Lynn Zicki. She works at a bakery. I didn't get permission to say which one, so I'm not gonna. But her boss looked at her Facebook account. She showed him how UUFE is trying to take care of each other, and he said, I would help. Dwight and the rest of the care associates and Jackie and I are working out the details of how much bread she is going to bring with her when she gets off work on which dates, and how to safely get it out to all of you who need it. Just in case you're going to send me a note about this, don't. Jackie's boss already gives truckloads to food pantries and kitchens. This is an example of one person, Jackie, who shared the love of the congregation with somebody else, and they said, oh, I love that y'all are helping each other and that so many of you are high risk and shouldn't be leaving your home. Let me help you. That was Jackie's boss's message. So what might you do in a spirit of kindness or compassion? Earlier, when we left the house to run errands and not touch anybody, we went to the church and we put more food in the, it was a small lending library, but we've changed it into a pantry, and we put food in there. And apparently our neighbors or someone driving by is helping themselves to it, which is great. So we went and refilled that. What is something that you could do? Could you drop a needed item on somebody's doorstep? Could you have a phone call with somebody as they figure out how to use their remote control, or maybe use their smartphone better? Can you put on a concert like Carl Rest? Can you offer tutoring for homeschoolers? What could you do from inside your home to spread the love? Love, compassion, kindness are antidotes to the bad feelings of grief. If you're having a hard time thinking about ways to be kind, you can stay home. That is a way of being kind and compassionate and smart. As we move through the season of grief together, may we find ways to handle all of those hard feelings that wrap around us when we're in that grief spiral. Maybe we'll find silly games, deep questions, long lost to-do lists. Rest assured that Trump is acting very irresponsibly, murderous, I would say, to encourage meetups. We will follow CDC guidelines, and our board meets next week. Rest assured that even though I'm sure it's going to come out that we will not be meeting up for Easter, but that's not official yet. When we don't meet up for Easter, if you still take a picture of yourself in an Easter bonnet, whether you're from UUFE or not, and you send it to Kevin by text or email or however, by April 5th, we will have a bonnet retrospect video. I will accept photos from people who don't typically attend UUFE. We will have Easter in some fashion. Until then, I want you to go ahead and think about what I've said. Let it wash over you that maybe this is grief. What have you lost? Did you lose the ability to go somewhere? Did you lose the ability to do something? Go ahead and think about it as a loss. But don't dwell there. Get yourself to the place where you can look for the silver linings. Maybe look for the ways that your new normal could break a pattern or a habit that you did not love. Change does not have to be terrible. Change is harder when we did not ask for it. That's part of grief, the suddenness of it all. But like any season, grief passes into the next cycle. Be kind to you. Be kind to those around you, so that when this global grief has passed, we have those strong muscles of kindness and of love and of compassion. And we can use those muscles to go out and heal our bruised and hurting world. Until then, be well. Blessed be. Amen. Stay home in peace.